Anna, can you come here for a sec? Alex's voice echoed from the living room, pulling me away from my sketches. I set down my pencil, rubbing my forehead. These wedding dress designs weren't going to finish themselves, but family first. In the living room, our kids, Mia and Lucas, were building a fort out of pillows and blankets, giggling like it was the best thing in the world. Alex, my husband of 10 years, looked up from his laptop, his eyes crinkling with that familiar smile. "Hey, love," I said, leaning in for a quick kiss. "What's up?" Alex's smile faltered a bit. "It's about my sister, Clara. Mom just called. Clara's getting married again." I raised an eyebrow. "Again? What's this, her 5th time?" Alex shrugged, looking a tad uncomfortable. "Yeah, 5th. Look, I know Clara can be, well, Clara, but she's still my sister." Clara, Alex's older sister, was a piece of work. At 42, she'd been married 4 times, each wedding more extravagant than the last. And her personality? Let's just say she could make a saint swear. She and I had never seen eye to eye. Her idea of a conversation was more like a one-sided barrage. I sighed, already feeling a headache coming on. So, what does this have to do with us? She's not expecting us to foot the bill for her wedding again, is she? No, nothing like that, Alex quickly assured. It's just, well, Mom mentioned that Clara might want her wedding dress from your studio. I choked on my coffee. She wants what? Alex, you know how she treats me, and my work is not exactly bargain bin material. I have a reputation to maintain. Alex ran a hand through his hair, looking as if he'd rather be anywhere else. I know, but you also know how Mom is. She's hoping you'll do it as a favor. Family and all that. Family. That word always got me. I loved my in-laws. Truly I did. They'd been nothing but kind and welcoming to me. But Clara? She was the thorn in my side, the lemon in my paper cut. Fine, I'll think about it, I said finally, my words clipped. But I'm not making any promises, especially not to Clara. Just then, the doorbell rang. I went to answer it, and there they were. Clara, in all her overbearing glory, and my mother-in-law, sweet as ever, but with that hopeful look in her eyes. Anna, darling, Clara's voice was like nails on a chalkboard. I just knew you'd be thrilled to make my wedding dress. It's going to be the event of the year after all. I forced a smile, holding back 100 sarcastic replies. Clara, what a surprise. Come in, let's talk about it. As they stepped inside, I braced myself. This was going to be one long, bumpy ride. The next day, Clara barged into my studio like she owned the place, her heels clicking loudly against the floor. My mother-in-law, Mrs. Thompson, trailed behind her, her expression apologetic. I put on my best professional smile, though inside, I was anything but pleased. Welcome to my studio, I greeted, gesturing around the room filled with mannequins draped in elegant fabrics. Let's talk about what you're looking for in a wedding dress. Clara didn't waste a second. I want something spectacular, Anna. This is my 5th wedding, and it has to top all the others. I'm thinking something bold, something that screams Clara. I nodded, trying to keep my tone neutral. Of course. Do you have any specific designs in mind? She waved her hand dismissively. You're the designer. Impress me. But remember, it needs to be grand. I want everyone's jaw to drop. Mrs. Thompson gave me a pleading look. I knew she was caught between her daughter's demands and her respect for my work. I sighed inwardly. Family peace was a delicate thing. All right, Clara, I'll come up with a few designs. But we need to discuss the budget and timeline. Custom wedding dresses require time and resources. Clara laughed, a sound that grated on my nerves. Oh, budget isn't an issue. Just make sure it's the best. And I need it in 2 months. That shouldn't be a problem for a professional like you, right? 2 months. That was pushing it, especially with my other clients. But before I could respond, Clara added another jab. And make sure it's better than what you usually do. This isn't just some run-of-the-mill wedding. It's mine. I bit back a sharp retort, reminding myself to stay professional. I'll do my best, Clara. Let's schedule a fitting session next week to take your measurements and discuss further details. As they left, Clara's parting words were, "Remember, Anna, I expect nothing but the best. Don't disappoint me." Once they were gone, I slumped into my chair, feeling the weight of the task ahead. Designing a dress for Clara, who was as demanding as she was condescending, was going to be a real test of my patience. But I had promised Mrs. Thompson, and I wasn't one to back down from a challenge, no matter how unpleasant it might be. A week later, Clara strutted into my studio for her fitting session, her attitude as overbearing as ever. I had prepared several sketches, each showcasing a different style, but I had a feeling this was going to be more about Clara's ego than the dress itself. "Here are the designs I've come up with," I said, spreading the sketches out on the table. "I've considered several styles that could complement your personality and the occasion." Clara barely glanced at them, her nose wrinkling in disapproval. "These are okay, I guess, but they're missing that wow factor. You know, something that makes people go, 'That's Clara.'" I took a deep breath, my patience wearing thin. "How about this one?" I pointed to a sketch of a bold, open-back dress. "It's elegant yet daring, much like your personality." Clara peered at the sketch, then shrugged. "It's fine, but it needs more pizzazz, and make sure it's white, pure white." I paused, choosing my words carefully. "Clara, have you considered maybe a different color, like blue, lavender, or even peach? Given that this isn't your first wedding, white might not be the most suitable choice." Her eyes flashed with anger. "Are you kidding me? It's my wedding, and I'll wear white if I want to. It's traditional. Are you saying I can't pull off white?" "No, it's not about that," I tried to explain. "It's just that white traditionally symbolizes—" "I don't care what it symbolizes," Clara snapped. "I want white, and that's final. Are you going to make my dress or not?" Seeing no point in arguing further, I nodded. "All right, white it is. Let's talk about the budget. Given the details and work involved, especially on such short notice, the cost will be around $2,000. Clara's jaw dropped. $2,000? Are you out of your mind? I'm family. You should be giving me a discount, not ripping me off. I already factored in a family discount, I explained, trying to keep my voice steady. The price is actually quite reasonable for a custom design and rushed order. "Well, I'm not paying that much," she retorted. "I thought you'd do it for free as a wedding gift or something." I was stunned. "Clara, I can't just give away my work for free. There are costs involved, not to mention the time and effort of my team." "Your team?" Clara laughed mockingly. "Please, it's just a dress. I'm sure you can whip it up in no time. And it's not like you're some big-name designer." I felt my cheeks flush with anger. "My work has value, Clara. I'm sorry, but I can't just give you a dress for free." Clara stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Fine. I'll talk to Mom about this. She'll make you see sense." That evening, after a long day of wrestling with fabric and fending off Clara's demands, my phone rang. It was Mrs. Thompson, and her voice was laced with concern. I braced myself for what was to come. "Anna, dear, I just had a talk with Clara," she began, her tone soft but heavy. "She's really upset about the dress situation." I sighed, running a hand through my hair. "I know, Mrs. Thompson, but what she's asking for, it's a lot. Giving away a custom dress for free is a big ask. It's not just the cost, but the effort and time that goes into it." There was a pause, and I could almost picture Mrs. Thompson's kind face torn between her daughters. "Anna, I know it's a big favor, but it would mean so much to the family, especially to Clara. It's her 5th wedding, and she wants it to be special. Her words hung in the air, and I felt the familiar tug at my heartstrings. Mrs. Thompson had always been like a second mother to me, and I hated letting her down.
All right, Mrs. Thompson. I'll do it. I'll make the dress for Clara as my wedding gift to her. But I have one condition. She needs to respect my time and the process. No last-minute changes or unreasonable demands.
Mrs. Thompson's relief was palpable, even through the phone. Oh, thank you, Anna. You have no idea how much this means to us. I'll talk to Clara, make sure she understands your conditions. I ended the call with a heavy heart. I knew I was walking into a storm, but for the sake of family harmony, I was willing to weather it. The next morning, Clara waltzed into my studio, a smug smile on her face. So, I heard you've come to your senses and agreed to make my dress for free. Smart move, she said, her tone bordering on condescending. I forced a smile, keeping my emotions in check. Yes, Clara. I'll make your dress as a wedding gift, but I need you to cooperate with me. No more unrealistic demands or last-minute changes. Deal? Clara rolled her eyes but nodded. Fine. Just make sure it's the most stunning dress you've ever made. Remember, it's for Clara's big day. The following weeks were a blur of fabric, measurements, and constant alterations. Clara was proving to be as difficult a client as I had feared. Every fitting session felt like a battle, her demands growing more outlandish each time. Anna, this isn't what I pictured at all, Clara exclaimed during one of her fittings, looking at herself in the mirror with a frown. The neckline needs to be lower, much lower, and where's the wow factor I asked for? I kept my voice calm, though inside I was anything but. Clara, we've already adjusted the neckline twice. Any lower and it won't be appropriate. As for the wow factor, I've added the embellishments you requested. She huffed, turning this way and that in front of the mirror. It's just not enough. I want people to be stunned, speechless even. Can't you add some more sparkle or something? Clara, there's only so much I can do without changing the entire design, I replied, trying to maintain a professional demeanor. And we're running out of time. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Well, you're the designer. You figure it out, she snapped. Just make it happen. I have to look perfect. As she left the studio, I felt a knot of frustration in my stomach. Designing a dress was one thing. Dealing with Clara's constant dissatisfaction was another. But I was determined to see it through, if only to prove to myself that I could handle even the most challenging clients. The next fitting was no better. Clara walked in, her arms crossed and her expression sour. This dress better be improved, she said, barely greeting me. I helped her into the dress, which I had painstakingly altered according to her last set of demands. I held my breath as she looked at herself in the mirror. It's better, but it's still missing something, Clara decided after a long moment. Maybe some more lace around the waist, and the train needs to be longer. Clara, we're really tight on time, I reminded her gently. Every change you request means more hours of work, and we need to make sure the dress is ready for your wedding day. She waved her hand dismissively. Just do whatever you have to do. I need this dress to be perfect, remember? It's my day, and everything needs to be just right. A week before the wedding, I was stitching the last of the pearls onto Clara's dress when my phone buzzed. It was a call from my friend Lisa, who also happened to be friends with Clara. Hey, Anna, just calling to chat about Clara's wedding. Can you believe it's almost here? Lisa's voice was light, but I could sense something was off. Yeah, it's been quite the journey with the dress, I replied, trying to keep my tone neutral. Lisa hesitated before speaking again. So, I was looking over the guest list. I didn't see your name on it. There must be some mistake, right? You're the one making her dress, after all. My hand froze mid-stitch. What? I'm not on the guest list? I double-checked, Anna. Your name's not there. I thought it was odd, given you're practically family. Anger and disbelief swirled inside me. After everything I'd done for Clara, she hadn't even bothered to invite me to the wedding? I'll look into it, Lisa. Thanks for letting me know, I managed to say before ending the call. My mind raced as I dialed Clara's number, my fingers trembling slightly. Anna, what do you want? I'm busy with wedding stuff, Clara answered, her voice brusque. Clara, I just found out I'm not on your wedding guest list. Surely this is some mistake. I tried to keep my voice steady. Oh, that. No mistake. I didn't invite you, she said casually, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. I was stunned into silence for a moment. You didn't invite me? After I've been working day and night on your wedding dress? Clara's laugh was cold. Come on, Anna. You're just the dressmaker. Besides, it's not like we're friends. Why would I invite you? I struggled to process her words. But I'm your sister-in-law, and this dress, it's my gift to you. Gift or not, I don't want you at my wedding. You don't fit in with my guests, Anna. It's a high-class event, not some local craft fair. Her words stung like a slap. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my composure. Fine, Clara. I hope your wedding goes as you wish. I hung up, feeling a mix of hurt and anger. I had put so much of myself into that dress, and this was how she repaid me? I felt foolish, naive, for thinking that maybe, just maybe, Clara would appreciate my gesture. But no, she was the same self-centered person she always had been, and I was the one left feeling like a fool. A few days before the wedding, as I put the final touches on Clara's dress, an idea began to form in my mind. If Clara thought she could use me and then toss me aside like an old rag, she had another thing coming. During the final fitting, Clara was her usual unpleasant self. Make sure this is tight. I want to look stunning, she demanded, eyeing her reflection in the mirror. I forced a smile, nodding. Of course, Clara, it'll be perfect. As she twirled in front of the mirror, I added, There's just a small adjustment I need to make. It won't take long. Clara eyed me suspiciously. What kind of adjustment? Just a minor tweak to the train. I want it to be absolutely perfect for you, I said, my voice dripping with feigned sweetness. Hurry up then. And remember, you're bringing the dress to my place on the wedding day. I don't want any last-minute disasters, she ordered, her tone dismissive. The day of the wedding arrived, and with a devious smile, I packed up the dress, or rather, what Clara thought was the dress, and headed to her place. My husband, Alex, drove me, his expression a mix of confusion and concern. Are you sure about this, Anna? He asked, glancing over at me. I've never been more sure of anything, I replied, my resolve steeling. We pulled up to Clara's house, and I could see the hustle and bustle of the wedding preparations through the open door. Taking a deep breath, I carried the box up to the front door, where Clara was waiting, her expression impatient. It's about time, she snapped, snatching the box from my hands. Now get out. You've done your part. I smiled, a real smile this time. Enjoy your wedding, Clara. Alex and I turned to leave, and as we drove away, I couldn't help the feeling of triumph that bubbled inside me. An hour later, my phone rang. It was Clara, and she was absolutely livid. What is this? Where's my dress? I feigned innocence. What do you mean? I gave you the dress. This is a joke, right? This is just a piece of plain fabric. Where is my real dress? She screeched into the phone. I let out a sigh, feigning regret. Clara, that piece of fabric is what you deserved. After how you treated me, did you really think I'd let you walk all over me? There was a stunned silence on the other end. Then Clara exploded. You'll pay for this, Anna. You've ruined my wedding. The call ended, and I turned to Alex, who was looking at me with a mixture of shock and admiration. Well, that's that, I said, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. An hour after the phone call, I was in my living room trying to relax when the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find Clara standing there, her face red with rage, clutching the piece of fabric I had given her. Her mother and her fiancé were standing behind her, looking equally shocked but for different reasons. "You ruined my wedding!" Clara yelled, waving the fabric in my face. "How could you do this to me?" I crossed my arms, meeting her anger with calm. "I did exactly what you asked for, Clara. You got the dress you deserved." Her fiancé, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "Clara, what's going on? Why are you holding a piece of fabric?" Clara turned to him, her face twisting with fury. This woman," she spat, pointing at me, "promised to make my wedding dress and then gives me this joke." Her fiancé looked at me, then back at Clara. "Is this true, Anna? Did you promise to make Clara's dress?" I nodded. I did. But Clara didn't invite me to her wedding, didn't pay for the dress, and treated me terribly throughout the whole process. This was my response. There was a moment of silence as her fiancé processed this. He then turned to Clara, his expression hardening. "Is it true you didn't invite Anna after she made your dress?" Clara's eyes darted around, realizing her situation was unraveling fast. "Well, it's not a big deal. She's just the dressmaker." Her fiancé shook his head, looking disappointed and angry. "Clara, this is not the person I thought I was marrying. I can't go through with this." He turned and walked away, leaving Clara standing there, speechless. Her mother, Mrs. Thompson, who had been quietly observing the scene, stepped forward. "Clara, I think you need to leave," she said softly but firmly. "Anna, I'm so sorry about all of this." Clara, now in tears, turned and ran off, her wedding dreams shattered. As they left, I closed the door, feeling a sense of closure. Alex, who had been watching from the hallway, came over and hugged me. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded, leaning into his embrace. "Yeah, I'm okay. I just hope Clara learned something from all this." The rest of the day passed quietly. As I sat down in my studio later, I realized that sometimes standing up for yourself means making tough choices, but in the end, it's worth it.